Yes, yes, yes. God will see you through it, no matter what. You may have fallen, you may have messed up, you may have been disappointed, you may have um, feelings of regret, but you got to get back up. You may have applied for a job and didn't get the job. You may have gotten laid off. I mean, there's so many things that happen to us in life, but you got to get up. You can't stay down. That greater one is on the inside of you, and he's going to help you get through any and everything that's going on in your life. You could be on the mountaintop or you could be in the valley. It's the same God. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is. Amen. God bless you, Elder McCrae. I'm Evangelist Cheryl Boggs. You're listening to the Cheryl Boggs Show, resting in His Word. And I am so glad that you have joined me on today. It is, uh, and I can't even take credit for this. I got this off of the movie Bruce Almighty. I like it. It's a BEA beautiful day here, and we are thankful to God for life, health, strength. Find something, large or small, that you are thankful for, and concentrate on those things. That's our that's your scripture point for today. Whatever things that are lovely, go to Philippians 4. Think on these things, okay? Think on those things. Not all the negative stuff, because it'll think on the goodness of Jesus. All right, well, I believe. No. I have the honor and the privilege of, let me see, what is his name? I think it's Gerald McBride, I believe. Hello, brother
Hey, how you
Gerald.
doing? How you doing?
I just thought I'd mess with you. I'm doing good. How are
I
you?
heard you. I heard you. Let me make sure I spelled my name right. Gerald. Yeah, okay, I'm good. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I would be the one. I did I mess your name up?
No.
Well, welcome to the Cheryl Boggs Show.
Oh man, thank you so much for having me again. Again, I know it's been a while, but
Yeah.
it's so good to be back. How you been
Well,
doing?
I've been doing good, doing
Awesome.
good. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I am so excited um, because when you were on last time,
Mhm.
we were promoting the movie The
Right.
Rhythm.
Right.
And I was laughing because when I was doing the flyer, I still had, writer, producer, director, or something like that. And I was like, no, now we're going to talk. He's an author now. So tell us a little bit about your journey before we get into the book, um, God and the DJ. Tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about Gerald.
About me, I have been in radio almost for actually celebrating 45 years in broadcasting
Wow.
this year. Yeah.
I'm, a
And
little, I'm just a little over that.
you just right. Exactly. Exactly. But just had an amazing radio career. I just thank God for allowing me to continue to do this. Something I started way back in high school, and I went to Mumford High School here in Detroit. Go Mustangs! Mustang
Woo-hoo.
for life, right? But kind of up and down the dial, as they say, and. And I think and I talk about this in my book. It was just my mother always kept the radio on when we were young, so we kind of grew up on radio, back then, radio was just so important to the African American community. If you wanted to know what was going on, you had to listen to the radio. So I had all my favorite DJs that I listened to and all my favorite radio stations. And I just thought one day, you know what? I, that's what I want to do. And just one thing led to another. Actually got into a program when I was in high school, which allowed some of the students to come down to the radio station and give a report on what was happening at their high school. And it was called the Soul Team Reporters. And I was a Soul Team reporter on WJOB back in the 70s for my high school, Mumford High School. And that's kind of how it all started. So once I got bit by that radio bug and got a chance to hear myself on the radio and just being inside that radio station, it just excited me, and here I am, still doing this to this day.
Wow. So I know we're here to promote your book, but I have to go back to the movie.
Yes,
That was your first movie
my first movie. Yes,
called The Rhythm.
the rhythm.
Let's
Yes,
talk just a little bit about that.
yeah, yeah.
How I'm
How
gonna,
that how that came about?
yeah.
Actually, through my radio career, it spun out to a career in voiceovers. So I started a business where I do radio commercials and TV commercials for all kind of different as advertisements and mainly concert commercials. So we became our company, Voiceover Productions, kind of came the voice of the R&B concerts all across the country. So, if you ever heard that guy on the radio saying, "Hey, get tickets at Ticketmaster and the box office are charged by phone," that was me. So anyway, one of my clients who I did a lot of commercials for, he came into town and um, asked if I could take him to a hockey game. And I didn't see a lot of this guy. And so when he was in town, I wanted to make sure I treated this client right. And he says, "Man, I think we went to a few radio stations and went to dinner." And he says, "Man, would you mind taking me to a hockey game tonight?" I was like, "Really, a hockey game?" He says, "Yeah, my son is playing for UMass, and they're playing University of Michigan. And if you don't mind, man, that'd be great if we could go." And it's my treat. And so I drove him up to University of Michigan, and we got there, and it sold out 10,000 seats. And I'm the only African American in the entire arena. I thought, wow, where are the black people in this sport? Cheryl, right then and there, I believe the Lord gave me an idea for a story about a black hockey player. And once I left that hockey game, I was just focused on telling this story, and every day, when you get a story inside of you, when you get something inside of you, it's like, man, I gotta get this out of me. I gotta share this with people. And I just started kind of writing on notepads and didn't have any experience in writing a script, but I had written a lot of TV and radio commercials and shot a lot of TV commercials. So I was kind of familiar with, production, but not a movie.
Right.
So I just started writing and writing and writing and writing and writing and writing and start pushing it to Hollywood. And um, I got a few people who were interested, but nobody really ever came to the table with the money. But this was going for about 10 years. And then finally, right after COVID, I decided to step out on faith and do it myself. And here we are with The Rhythm, the story
Yeah.
of a young black hockey player who deals with some racism. He gets into a serious brawl on the ice, and he almost kills a guy, and he goes to jail for attempted murder. And when he gets out of jail, they send him to a community center to do
Mhm.
some community work. And he teaches these young kids how to play hockey, and then also teaches them, other lessons in life. And they become a championship team. You got to see it. It's on Amazon Prime. It is on Tubi. It is on Apple TV, Google Play, Roku, and a couple other platforms. The Rhythm. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute, let me do it like
And, it's,
that.
and the movie really has a lot of history about um, the black hockey players who actually started playing in Nova Scotia back in the 1900s that a lot of people don't know about. So actually, the player in the movie is the great grandson of one of the players who who started this league, and so he comes from a line of hockey players, and yeah,
And I
it's
think the blessing is exposure. Um, I was fortunate. I watched the movie,
yes,
but I
and
think it's more. I think the more that our culture is exposed to other things, then
yes,
the broader our horizon
yes,
will be. Oh, that was pretty prolific. Wait a minute.
yeah, yeah. No, it was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good. But no, that is so true. I mean, I hope that the people who have seen this movie and the young kids that have seen it, the teenagers, that there's more to sports than just, for us,
Right.
basketball and football, and I hope that this encourages some of these young African American kids to take up this sport. And I think the other thing about this movie that it really kind of gave exposure to the young kids in Detroit, because it's really kind of based on some true events. I didn't know I was writing something that was based on true events, and still until I started working with the young hockey players in the city of Detroit. But there's actually a hockey rink in the city of Detroit, in the inner city, that has been recruiting kids to play hockey for many, 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 many years, and it's on the corner of Linden and Myers in Detroit. And ever
Okay.
since the 80s, they go through the neighborhood asking these kids that they want to play hockey. So I've talked to so many people that have actually played hockey there. So it's kind of like this underground world of hockey. And in the movie, we talk about this, that, Detroit is known as Hockey Town. So downtown, you got Hockey Town, you got the Red Wings, and you got Little Caesars Arena. And about 15 minutes from there is a whole nother world of hockey that people don't even know about. So,
Wow.
yeah,
So that was a blessing, and the
yes,
movie, The Rhythm,
yes,
did very well. So we
yes.
were thanking God for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. And I hope those who are watching, if you haven't had a chance to see it, please watch it. Once again, it's on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, and Roku, and Tubi. You can pretty much find it anywhere. But the other thing, I just believe the Lord kind of led me to just kind of just share some different messages in the movie. Um, and those who watch it, I think you will see some of the themes and topics throughout the movie, like about making the right choices in life.
Right.
Sometimes when we get angry, we tend to um we forget everything. I mean, when you get angry, it's just like, man, you fly off the handle, and sometimes it can be pretty dangerous. I mean, for
Mhm.
him, for this character, he actually gets angry and ends up, you know, in jail. But can you imagine how many people in jail because they were angry at somebody and they did
And
something that they
go ahead.
regret? They let their anger get the best of them. So I think that's one of the messages in the movie. And then also to believe in yourself, to believe that you can do something that you've never tried before, um, and to have perseverance and faith. And of course, the meaning of the cross, which is so very, very important in the movie. In this movie, we're not beating people over the head with the Bible, but there is an underlying theme of trusting God in the movie. Absolutely.
Yes, yes, yes. So you stepped out of in faith or on faith,
Yes.
and you got the movie.
Yes.
Provided uh,
Yes.
the finances, and
Yes.
so after that, you decided that you want to do a memoir or you
Yeah,
write
yeah.
a
It
book.
it actually kinda happened during the making of the movie too, and if I could share this with you, what happened, I have a cousin, well, I had a cousin, she just made a transition a few months ago, but, a few years ago, she reached out to me and she said, "Cheryl, would you mind just jotting down some information about yourself? It doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be a whole lot, but if you could do a couple of pages about your life, because what I'm doing is putting together a scrapbook with a few relatives, and I'm doing this so that we'll have a family history, so we'll be able to pass this on to the next generation, and the next generation they can go through this book and look at who was who. I mean, and that's
Right.
very, very important. And to be quite honest, I kind of wish my parents would have really took the time to do what I did in writing something down like that. I just took it a step further when I started writing. It was like, oh wow, I got to tell this story and that story. And, I'm thinking about my kids and things that I wanted them to know, even though they've heard some of these stories. But when you write it down and you with such detail,
Right.
there's a big difference. So um, yeah, I was thinking about my kids when I was writing this book, and my listeners too, my radio listeners too, to kind of give them an understanding of what my journey was like. But it all started because my cousin said, "Can you jot down a couple of paragraphs about your life?" And I just kept writing and writing and writing, and next thing I know, I was like, "Wow!" Just talked to a couple of friends of mine, and they were saying, "Wow, you need to keep going. This could be a really good book." After I shared a couple of stories with them, and then I reached out to a publishing company, and I found just one of the most remarkable publishing companies who were believers and who would pray with me about what I needed to write. And just guided me through the whole process of writing this book. And they're called Owens Publishing. I want to give a shout out to Dawn and her husband Jesse, who really helped me so much in developing this book to where it is. Um, but yeah, it was just it probably took me about 2 or 3 years to after I started writing. It's like, when you write a book, man, you read it and then you go back and you write. You read some more, you go back, you write, you rewrite, you rewrite, you rewrite, you read, you rewrite, you rewrite, and it just goes on and on and on until finally you're like, okay, let's let it go. This is it. And it's really interesting, Cheryl. Even as I was writing the book, things were happening in my life that I felt needed to be in the book. It's almost like God just kind of just said, okay, wait a minute, hold up. You're not finished yet.
Mm.
And then I would go through some things that were just uh, life lessons, that were just life lessons. So actually, the book really ends with things that I've experienced like in the last year. So yeah, it's been an amazing experience. Yes.
So, if I was reading correctly, your DJ career
Mhm.
actually started in a cousin's basement or
Well,
garage
no,
or
no,
something like that.
actually, in a nightclub.
In the
That's
night.
where it kind of started. Well, it actually started before that. Like I mentioned before, it actually started in high school as I became a soul team reporter for Mumford High School. But then after graduating out of high school, you would think, of course, I wanted to go right into college, but my family couldn't afford that, and I ended up going to work in a nightclub. Go figure
Okay.
that. Yeah. So my brother had a nightclub in Detroit, and I actually started out. I put this in the book. This is one of the stories in the book. Um, I started out as the dishwasher there, thinking actually when he did this grand opening, I'm thinking, I know you look, hey, bro, you're my brother, you're my oldest brother. I know you're gonna let me be the official DJ in this nightclub. Well, I was wrong. He gave me the job as the dishwasher.
He said baby steps. Gotta take
Yeah,
baby.
yeah. I don't know if he knew how serious I was about this whole DJ thing. And this was during, the '70s. So, disco was just kind of taking off and, um, and yeah. So, uh, I was the dishwasher. I got a job as a dishwasher, and my job was to stock the bar. I was also a porter, and so I would just kind of stand in the back and watch these other DJs, motivating the crowd to get up and dance, and how they did their thing. And during the daytime, I would go up and while nobody was there because I worked the day shift, but of course the night crowd and the party didn't start till later on that night when the DJ would come in and play all the music. But in the daytime, while nobody was there, what I would do is go up and get into the DJ booth and pretend there were a bunch of people in the seats, and hey, this is Brother Cheryl, and here's Earth, Wind, and Fire. Let's have a good time. All right, everybody, come on, get on the dance floor. Let's have a good time. And I would do that, and my brother sometimes would walk into the bar, and he would say, "Didn't I tell you to get off of those turntables? Don't you ever get on those turntables? Get back in there and wash those dishes." I mean, really, actually, he had some more special words that he used. But he would tell me, man, every day I would sneak and get on those turntables, and he'd walk in, and he'd come in, in the middle of the day, 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Man, look, you are the dishwasher. You are not the DJ. Get back in that kitchen and wash those dishes. It was almost like a Cinderella story,
Right.
It just felt like.
And that's funny because earlier in the program, I said that you may have a dream if God has placed something inside of you that won't go away, and
won't go away.
And it doesn't matter how many times
people tell you no.
Yeah,
it's in you, and it's in you. It's a part of you, and you just won't give up on it because it's something that God put inside you. I didn't know that then, but that's exactly true. That's exactly. I didn't know who put it in me then, but exactly it. In retrospect, it was God who put that gift and that desire inside me to do this. And anyway, so I would sneak throughout the day, getting on those turntables, and he, every time he would say, "Hey, man, look, get off of those turntables, get back in that kitchen and wash those dishes." One night, this would go on for months, but one night, his DJ did not show up. The place is packed. He has nobody to play the music. He comes in the kitchen. He says, "Cheryl, I need you tonight. Can you be my DJ for tonight? Take." I said, "Sure." I said, "Excuse me." I said, "Sure." I take off my apron, my wet apron. I got on my dishwasher clothes, and I hop in the DJ booth. And after that, the job was mine.
See, and I love it because there's a process. There's a process it's like we see something and we want to go straight to the top, but there's a process.
There's always a process, and that's always been the case in my life. I mean, with everything that I've gone through, everything that I've learned, there's always been a learning process, which is very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout my entire career, I had to. I mean, you got to learn to you got to crawl before you walk, as they say. I mean, it's just that's just a fact. I mean, you got to do that, because just think, if you were to be blessed with some great opportunity and you were not prepared, it's all a part of the preparation. God preparing you for so many different things. And I know, that may sound a little different being in a nightclub, but even that experience as well was preparing me for something next. And it didn't, I wasn't there long. I was there for a couple of years, but I would take that money that I made in that nightclub, which was $35 a night, and I would pay my way through broadcasting school. So there was a purpose right there. Yes.
Oh man, he said, "What a powerful story."
Yes, thank you.
And I like it because it shows tenacity.
Mm-hmm.
It shows perseverance,
Absolutely.
which is what we have to have.
Absolutely.
I like the tagline. I can't really quote it right now. I'm not looking at the tagline that you have on your book. What did I say?
I don't know. There's probably a few.
About destiny. Wait a minute. Let me see how I can do this. But it was saying, it's God's plan.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What did I say? I want to repeat this.
Mm-hmm.
I got to put my glasses on.
Okay, go ahead. Put your glasses on. Put your glasses on.
Oh, it says, when God is in it, or when God speaks, dreams become destiny.
Yes. Yes,
I
absolutely.
like
Which
that.
yes,
I put
yes.
that on the flyer.
Yeah, when God speaks, right, right. Dreams become destiny. Absolutely, and
Yeah.
that's exactly what happened. Of course, and to be quite honest, I didn't really know the Lord then. But here's the interesting thing about that. Even while I was doing that and working, at the bar,
Hmm.
now that I look back on it, God was ordering my steps even back then, even when I did not know him. That is the power of his grace and mercy.
Hmm.
Yes, yes,
It is
yeah.
because I mean he had his hand on you from the beginning.
From the very beginning, and he has his hand on all of us from the very beginning. And sometimes we steer away and we go in different directions, and we go the wrong way. But God is still
Yeah.
there. He's
And
still
he
there. But
yes,
I
he's with us.
at some point we have to stop and acknowledge him. And I'm so glad, in my 30s, by the time I got 30, that I realized I needed to stop and listen to what he had to say.
Mm,
Absolutely. And things would just change so much. And that's pretty much you know what I do in this book, is kind of take people through the chronological order of my life, and where I met God. You know,
yeah,
he was there all the time. He was there all the time, but where I gave my life over to him to guide me is the
yeah.
way I should put it.
And,
Absolutely.
and then you did voiceovers and
Yes.
commercials for people like
Yes.
Prince and Luther
Yeah. Yeah.
Vandross and
Yeah. Yeah.
Janet Jackson,
Yes.
just to
Yeah.
name a few. Cheryl
Oh,
Boggs, she's still
yeah. Yeah.
still up and coming.
So here's what happened. And let me just tell you another quick story. So after um, I pay my way through school with this nightclub gig. Uh, I graduate from the broadcasting school, and I'm thinking, okay, now I got to get my job in radio. I mean, I've always wanted to be on radio all my life, but I ended up getting a job as a maintenance man at a carpet store. It was good money though. I made pretty good money, but I'll never forget the carpet store. It was called Beckwith Evanston, and my job was to load the carpet in and keep the toilets clean. I mean, that was pretty much my job. It's like, oh, okay, wait a minute. After I graduate out of broadcasting school, I'm thinking, I'm going to get right on the radio. But here's that process again, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
still holding on to your dream. So I would send out tapes, and that's what you had to do in order to get a job. You had to send out. Back then, we had these reel to reel tapes, and I would send them to stations, and I kept getting nope, yeah, not
yeah,
good enough, no experience, nope, no, 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 so many no's, and then I finally get a yes for a part-time show in Flint, Michigan. And I'm thinking, wow, finally! I've been waiting on this all my life, Cheryl. I'm like, this is it. It's just a Saturday show from 3 to 6 in the afternoon on an AM station in Flint. So I get the program director. The program director calls me and he says, "Okay, yeah, this is going to be your shift. We'll give you a shift every Saturday from 3 to 6 o'clock. And what we need you to do, though, before you start your shift this Saturday coming up, I need you to come up Monday through Friday and do an orientation." And that was real important because back then radio stations had all of these knobs and had turntables and cart machines, and you had to know what each knob did, and you had to understand the format, what to say, where, what, and when, and how. And I mean, so it took a week just to kind of just learn all the different knobs and buttons, of this control board. And so yeah, I did that for a week, and then it was time for my shift on that Saturday. And I'll never forget standing in the studio and thinking I'm all prepared, waiting on this opportunity that I've been waiting on all my life. And the guy says, "Up next is Gerald McBride." And I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is it!" This little AM station, Cheryl. I'm thinking the whole world is listening to me, and I'm just getting so nervous when he said that. And the guy gets up and says, "Okay, all right, man, you got it." And he walks out of the studio, and I sit down in that chair, and I'm in front of the mic like I am here, and but turntables are I'm way in the back. Back then you had these turntables, and you had the so I queued up my record and it was just about to be 3 o'clock, and I was getting ready to turn on the mic and do the station ID WAMM Flint, and but I had to start the record first and had it queued up and ready to go. When I got ready, I'm so nervous. When I got ready to start that record, I knocked the arm off the record and it goes scream over the air, and I was like, oh no, I'm just in a panic. Cheryl, the program director, comes in and says, "You're fired. Get out of my station." Cheryl, before I could say my first words on the radio, I was fired.
No.
The guy kicks me out of the station. I'm thinking, man, I blew it. I blew it. I was like, that was my only chance. I had been waiting on this all my life. I go back to the carpet store. I go back to cleaning toilets and rolling up carpet rolls and thinking I will never get another chance. That was my chance. But God,
But God.
but God, I still didn't know him. I didn't know him. I knew about him, but I did not know him. 3 months later, a friend of mine who worked at the station called me, says, "Man, I talked to the program director, and he's going to give you another chance. You want to come back?" I was like, "Yes." I went back and I nailed it, and the rest is history.
45 years.
45 years later.
But
45 years later.
But what I'm hearing, God speaking throughout this whole entire program is
Yes.
is don't give up, even though
Don't ever give up, even when you mess up.
even when you
When
mess
you
up.
mess up, right, right,
Yeah.
right. That's right, right. God is ordering your steps, and
Yeah.
when you fall, He will lift you back up. When you fall, He will help you get back up. Absolutely,
He
absolutely.
will. And that's what when before we came on, I was playing my song Get Up. And it says, the words in the song says you may have been knocked down, but the fight's not over yet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're
So
going to make some mistakes in life.
yeah.
We're going to make some mistakes. There's going to be some times that you're going to be nervous, but you got to get back up. And that really kind of what that movie talks about in
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, in the rhythm is, okay, look, if you don't succeed the first time, you got to get back up and try it again. You got to
Exactly.
try it again. Don't ever give up. You got to persevere. So I did. And 45 years later, yeah, I'm on the air. So um, once I got on the air, um, I found that I had a gift in doing commercials. When you got off the air back then, you had to be able to produce several different commercials. It could have been for grocery stores. I did meat markets. I did, you know, restaurant commercials. I mean, just a little bit of everything. But
Yeah.
back then, you had to be able to produce the entire commercial. So it wasn't just voicing it. I mean, you had to put the sound effects in there. You had to put the music to it, and you had to fully produce a spot. So if you were on the air 4 hours and you had 7 commercials to do after you got off the air that would do to be on the air the next day, I mean, we would be there all night producing commercials. I mean, in that production room, it's called the radio production room, is where
Mm-hmm.
we all had the responsibility of doing that. But I was like, I really kind of like this part of the job, and so much so, clients started requesting, "Hey, I want that guy's voice." When they started saying that, I was like, you know what? I think I have something here. Once I got my first job in Detroit, there were a couple of promoters who heard my voice, and they did all the concerts in Detroit. And once they heard me, they were like, "No, we got to have that guy. We want that guy on our commercials." And that's where I started. Yeah, they wanted that guy saying live. It's Teddy Pendergrass for one night only. You know, the ladies only tour with Teddy. You know, right? And then the song
Right.
would come in, turn off the lights. You know, you know. So they were like, no, we wanted that guy, and I became the voice of this company called Taurus Productions, who did all the commercials, uh, all the concerts rather in Detroit, and that just kind of grew and grew because I knew I had something then, and then on top of that, I was being paid $50 a commercial. I was like, come on now, what 50 a commercial? Like, even though one commercial back then would take me, 5 hours to do. But no, that's where it all started right there. And it just kind of grew and grew and grew from just doing one or two commercials for a single show to an entire tour. So, yeah, I ended up doing commercials for Prince and his entire tour. So, wherever Prince would perform across the country, where the advertising came up for that city, it was my voice on it. From Prince to Temptations to the Isley Brothers to Gladys Knight. Oh man, the list just goes on and on. Like I mentioned, Teddy Pendergrass, People Bryson, Freddie Jackson. Just man, I've done commercials just with just about everybody. The Jacksons, yeah, Stevie Wonder, done Stevie Wonder's tours. Anita Baker, Kevin Hart, Chris Tucker, Cat Williams, and the list just goes on and on. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
And all because you went on, you didn't despise the day of small beginnings, and
that's
you were
right.
doing the dishwashing
That's
and
right.
then folding carpet,
That's
loading.
right. That's right. That's right. And never give it up. I had given up. I thought my radio career was over after after the guy fired
Before
me
and,
before I
and
could say
and
my first word. But
and it's
yeah.
amazing how that happens.
Yes.
I mean, I think if you talk to anyone that we consider great,
Yes.
they have a similar testimony as to when they started. Either nobody wanted to hear me, nobody paid
Yes.
me any attention.
Yes.
I had to step out in faith and write my first book. I had, and I think that is the tenacity that the Lord puts in us. You have to
Absolutely.
have it because there's going to be more no's.
There's
Uh,
going to be a whole lot of no's. There were a
yeah,
whole lot of no's when I was trying to make the movie. No, no, can't do it. Can't do it. Not going to work. But when it's in you, when it's in your heart, and when the Lord puts that desire in you, and it's something that He is calling you to do with a purpose,
hmm,
you cannot stop. Of course, the enemy is going to try to come in and discourage you and stop you from pursuing something that you're called to do. Absolutely, and I think anybody who has a calling on their life would agree with that. That yes, there's going to be all kind of obstacles and barriers, and that you're going to have to overcome, and that's just life. It's just life, and um, and those who persevere and keep going are the ones who have the victory.
amen.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm
Yes.
Evangelist Cheryl Boggs, and you're listening to the Cheryl Boggs Show, resting in His Word, heard here live every Monday, starting at 5 Central,
Yeah.
right here on Fishbowl Studios, as well as churchtalkmedia.net and on YouTube and on Instagram.
Yeah.
Welcome the Instagram family. And you can always go to Cheryl Boggs, my YouTube channel, and you can listen again to this interview.
Yeah.
That is my station identification.
That was
So
pretty good.
thank you. I was
Yeah.
auditioning. I'm auditioning
You
for
need the Cheryl Boggs Show, resting in His Word. You're listening or you're watching the Cheryl Boggs Show, resting in His Word.
see, make me a commercial. Make me a commercial. See if I can get a voiceover gig over
Yeah,
there.
that's what you need. Now, back to the Cheryl Boggs Show,
See,
resting in His Word.
there you go. There you go. There you go.
But no, Cheryl, I would go on to do so many commercials, and we still do quite a bit. We also were the voice of TD Jakes for all the mega fests and Woman the Heart Loose tours, and From that to doing voiceovers for the church that I attended here, Word of Faith International Christian Center. I've done commercials for Creflo Dollar. Um, just just a little bit of everything. I was the voice of the Universal Circus for many years, um, with a friend of mine by the name of Ricky Walker, whose circus is still going on to this day. And I'll never forget, he was like one of my early clients. And I'll never forget him. He used to do actually, he was a promoter for the Fresh Fest back in the 80s when the Fat Boys and LL Cool J and all these guys were touring, and I did the commercials for him. But one day he tells me that, hey, you know what, Cheryl, I think I'm going to start and all. These are just some of the things that I mentioned in the book and working with some of these people, but he mentions that he wants to start an all black circus. And we looked at him like he was crazy, to be quite honest, thinking, man, where are you going to get African American elephant trainers? And
Right.
we're thinking, how is that going to work? Because we've never seen that. But to this day, this guy has one. Have you ever seen the Universal Circus?
Oh yeah.
One of the biggest circuses in the world now, with all African American performers doing all of these feats. you
I know. I
know,
sit there,
you
I
know,
hold my breath. I'll be like, Lord,
right.
don't let them fall,
Yeah,
Jesus. I mean, they be
right.
twirling up, and I'm like,
Yeah,
Lord, don't let them fall.
yeah, just amazing. But I think that's just another example of when
Yeah.
God puts an idea in you, is to
Hmm.
stick with it, to stick with it. And and it's amazing how I'm still living that out to this day, even with some of the other projects that I have coming up. Even with the book, it's like, wow, Lord, you want me to write a book? So, and to hear people that they're really enjoying it, they're enjoying hearing my story and all the twists and turns and the ups and downs of my life. And I just hope it inspires people to never give up. Never give up on your dream. Yeah.
Amen. We'll talk some more, but go ahead and tell us how we can get God and the DJ.
And right now it's just on my website, which is geraldmcbride.com. And that's spelled GeraldMcBride.com. Right there on the screen. You can see my name. But yeah, geraldmcbride.com. And yeah, please get a copy. Get a couple of copies, share it with some people. Um, but so far, the book has been out just a couple of weeks, and I got some embarrassing stories in there. I'm being pretty transparent about my radio career and things that happened and the ups and downs, and I just, like I said, I just hope people understand that, hey, even if you mess up, even if you mess up, there's
Yeah.
still another opportunity. And
Yes.
God is a God of not just one chance, but second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th. I mean, you just, he'll never
Exactly.
give up on us. He will never give up on
Won't.
us.
He
Yes,
won't.
yes. And
And
what really happened in the book,
mhm,
what really kind of turned things around for me is that, um, my career is going pretty good. And then I go through a divorce and I'm thinking, wow, wait a minute. How did this happen to me?
right.
And being separated from my children and my family was just life changing,
Mhm.
and I just didn't have the answers for that. I really didn't know the Lord, but I didn't know any other place to go. I mean, nobody could really give me the answers on what to do or how to handle this or where to turn, or and I really cried out to God, and the only prayer I knew right then was help.
Right, right. And that'll do it.
Sometimes that's the only prayer you need is help. Help me. Help me. Help
Yeah.
me. And that is what I cried out to God. And that began my journey right there with the Lord from that point forward, that I would rely him for direction on everything that I needed. Because that was just one of those things in my life that really brought me to my knees,
Hmm.
because that was probably the most important thing in my life was my family. And you know and just not being with my kids. I got a chance to see them on the weekends, but wow, what a turning point in my life.
Mm.
And I think the lesson behind that, when things like that happen in your life, we don't run away from God. We run to him. We
Right.
run to him. And I was fortunate enough to realize that. And those are the things that really just turned my life around. And and just developing a intimate relationship with the Lord. I mean, church is great, and a good church will teach you how to do that. But it's the one-on-one time that you have with the Lord, the intimate relationship that you have, and learning to hear his voice. It's not, it's something that we really have to train ourselves to do, Cheryl, when you really think about it. Just something that just doesn't happen. You have to really, really focus in. I mean, if you really want to get to know somebody, how do you do that? You spend time with them.
Time with them.
You
Yeah.
spend intimate time with them.
Hmm.
So I just learned from that point forward, Lord, I need to talk to you every single day. I need to get instructions from you every single day on what to do, not just, you know, um, in business, um,
Hmm.
in everything. It's the word says, acknowledge him in all your ways and he will direct your paths. And
Yeah.
sometimes we just forget that he's there.
Yeah.
His arms are open wide saying, hey, look, I got the answers. Come to me. Learn to hear my voice. My sheep know my voice, but they got to spend some time.
Come on, preacher. Come
Yeah.
on, preacher,
Yeah.
preacher,
You got to spend some time
preacher.
with them. You got to spend some time
Yes.
with them to really learn his voice. That's just like anything, you know.
Right.
It's like you got to spend some time, into intimate time. So,
Yes.
and that's a message that I definitely get across in this book, or that was my intention to get across in this book. But I
Um,
believe, yeah,
well, Brett already has his. I was like, wait a minute, where's mine?
yes, yes,
But so I just love how God just pulls things together because
yeah,
everything that you're sharing um is just right on point as to what God wanted to say to all those
yes,
that are listening now and watching now and
yes,
those that are going to listen and watch later.
yes,
It's powerful, and I always enjoy um speaking with you, and I'll tell you something real funny. I was sitting down and I said, Lord, I don't have a guest for Monday. And I politely heard the Holy Spirit say, call Gerald.
wow,
I
wow.
said,
Thank you, Holy Spirit.
I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
So, because I always pray to see who God wants on the program, but I just thought that was funny. And so
Yeah.
then I said, well, that was what, Saturday, Friday or Saturday. I said, well, I just threw it out there and you were
Yeah.
available. And I just love how God just pulls all things together.
Yes.
You're an
Yes.
awesome man of God,
Yeah.
and your family, your
Yes.
movies, your book. I'm gonna say books, your movies.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Absolutely.
there's more coming.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I am honored that you had, took the time out to be on the Cheryl
Man,
Boggs show.
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Yes. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm not Prince or Luther. So I'm
Yeah,
just,
right, right, right. That's okay. That's
but
okay.
it's a blessing, and I
Yeah.
just love how God just brings things together, and we just pray for much success, continued success on the movie The Rhythm.
Thank you.
Like you said, it's on Apple, it's on Prime,
Yep. Prime. Yep.
it's
Real
on
cool.
Tubi, it's
Tubi.
on Roku,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
and God and the DJ is
God and the J.
available at
At GeraldMcBride.com. GeraldMcBride.com. Yes, yes.
Gerald, that's Gerald with a G.
Gerald with a G. That's right. Gerald with a G. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
Man, man, thank you so much for having me. Thank you
You're
so much for having me.
welcome. You're
Yes.
welcome.
And I just want to encourage people, if you get a chance to read a book, feel free to send me an email, and that's vopgerald@gmail.com. V is in Victor, O is in Oscar, P is in Paul, Gerald@gmail.com. I would love to hear what you think and what you got out of the book, and if it inspired you in any way possible. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, got to let you go because my
All
time
right.
is up. But
All right. All right. Thank you so much for having me, Cheryl. Appreciate you.
you're welcome. God bless
All
you.
right. God bless you too.
All right. I'm Evangelist Cheryl Boggs. You're listening to the Cheryl Boggs Show, Resting in His Word, heard here live every Monday starting at 6/5 Central, right here on Fishbowl Studios, as well as churchtalkmedia.net and on YouTube and on Instagram. Thank you, Instagram family, for tuning in. And this has been great. I will talk to you and see you all again, same time, same station next week. God bless.
What's up? It's your man Montel Jordan.
You've been listening to Resting in His Word with Evangelist Cheryl Boggs. Please send all prayer requests, questions, or comments to rihw@cherylboggs.com. Resting in His Word is a listener-supported program. To find out how you can support the program, you may visit my website at CHERYLBOGGS.com or call 972-239-0406 for more information. If you haven't accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, please read Romans 10:9-13 and pray to receive Jesus in your heart today. You'll be glad you did. And remember, he that dwells in the secret place will always be found resting in his word.
Everyone, I'm Dr. Nakia Hammonds Blakely with I Champion Publishing, and we're proud to announce the release of a powerful new book by new author Elder Brett Guilford. It's titled From Mess into a Masterpiece, and this isn't just a book, it's a testimony. In From Mess into a Masterpiece, Elder Brett courageously shares how God often takes broken places, painful seasons, and real life messes and transform them into something meaningful, healed, and purpose-filled. Can God really use this part of my story, we might ask? The answer is yes. As a publisher, we don't just release books. We steward stories that heal, restore, and point people back to truth. And this book does exactly that. From Mess into a Masterpiece is officially on sale now on Amazon and wherever books are sold. And I truly believe it's a word for this season and a powerful way to begin this new year. We invite you to watch the interview, support this release, and most importantly, receive the encouragement that God has for you through these pages. Your mess does not disqualify you. In God's hands, it actually becomes a masterpiece. So stay connected to us here at I Champion Publishing, support new author Elder Brett Guilford, and join us in celebrating this new release.
So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
We said we'd never break the 3-second rule. Never do that. And never become a minivan mom.
Hey, Chris.
As parents, we say never a lot, but never happens. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Even though we didn't grow up together, he's my favorite brother.
Hey, sis.
I'm the baby of the family, and he's the gentle giant.
What you know about Port Georgia?
Man, please, that's a classic.
You know when they say people are a rare breed? Yeah, he's that.
I'm sorry, I'll be back in a few hours.
Don't worry, Cheryl. You know I'm for you.
I know.
Go get the football.
That was my favorite memory. He was always for ya. This is a true story of me, Bridget Floyd, and this guy, George Perry Floyd Jr., my big brother.
They say there are no excuses.
They say to just push hard.
They say to just go faster.
But when we're on the field, they don't know what's going on inside us.
How hard is too hard?
When do we get support?
When do we raise our hand and ask for help? We need each other.
Love. Your mind.
I debate all day. It's what I do. But there are some things that are undebatable, like your mental health, my own mental health. I was in a dark place when my brother passed away in a car accident. I've never been more devastated than the day I lost my mom. I was depressed, miserable, in ways I never imagined. I reached out, and my sisters came, my pastor, my therapist. They helped me get through it. I found that the more I spoke up, the healthier my mind became. The chaos that was in me began to subside. I was more focused, clear. When you love your mind, you can go so much further. That's not up for debate. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org.
Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. As veterans, we can tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. But you've never been interested in easy. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
It's something about having that piece of paper. Some people think that's worth more than my skills.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
You just gotta be so good they can't ignore you.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
Analytics and empathy. That's how I've gained clients.
I am more.
I'm more.